Welcome to ET Edge Insights conversation. Today we have Anuj Gupta, the CEO of Hitachi Systems with us. How are you doing today, Anuj?
Very good. Very excited to be part of this conversation.
Okay.
And hoping we have a great time talking today.
Thank you very much. So we start out with a very curious observation. What do your badges talk about? If you can tell us about that.
So we're part of Hitachi Group. So this is the tree, which is about a 120-year-old tree, which is planted there. So this is our values, core values for the group, and we all like to wear this with a lot of pride. And of course, this is to do with the ESGs, the UN SDGs that Hitachi are now globally following, and we also, as an organization, is looking a lot into green energy. So that's where we are looking into. And of course, I'm part of the entire initiative in India, so that's why we carry these badges.
Thank you very much. So sustainability is what it's all about, right, out there?
I think it's the endeavor of all of us first, as people, then especially large organizations like us, which are global in nature, which are present all over, to create a sustainable future. If we don't do it, who's going to do it, right? And it's very important in today's time as to how we plan the next 20 years of how we consume energy, how we dispose energy. We are looking at alternate energy systems, right? So it's very important that how do we create the entire environment which is sustainable, not just some elements of it. So typically if you're seeing what is happening today, and I'll talk a lot about energy because that's where I'm doing a lot of work. If you see today that we have EVs and we have cars which are battery powered, right? But if you look at their charging system, they're running on a genset, right? Or if that energy what they are consuming is on a coal generated power, it's not really helping the cause. And today a lithium ion battery, to dispose that off, it actually, wherever you dispose of, 100 meters of the ground or 200 meters of the ground is non-usable for the next 100 years. So it's very important how we get the entire ecosystem right. So phase 0 to phase 2, as they say, right from the source to how it's consumed and how it's disposed. Energy at all levels has to be sustainable and environment friendly. And that is where Hitachi is doing a lot of initiatives and work, and Hitachi Energy as a group is doing a lot of effort around the world on that.
Okay, so you're a friend for the environment, right? With these initiatives, this is how we would like to term it in a sense, right?
I think it's still early days because as much as a friend I'm a foe in terms of consuming more and more of the power, right? And as we do a lot of cybersecurity, we are working a lot of AI technology, we are consuming way too much power than we should, right?
Yes.
So I would not really want to call myself as a friend because at one place where I'm trying to create something, I'm destroying at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah, in the next 10 years, I'm hoping that we can really change the way we are using the energy, and I hope it is more sustainable, more greener, and most of the countries who've committed to net zero by 2050 or 2030 or 2040, I'm very hopeful that those countries come to those levels of carbon emission, and if that happens, we just make a very, very sustainable future for all our children.
So coming from the angle of a friend and a foe, how about AI in cybersecurity? How does it come along? Is it a friend or a foe?
Very early days.
Okay.
Honestly, it's very early days to say whether it's a friend or a foe, but I think it's neutral.
Okay.
And again, that's where it is because it works on the data set it has. So it doesn't have an intelligence of its own as of now, but whatever it is being fed with and whatever it is scanned through or understood or studied, it can respond from there. But where we are looking at it, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a lot of changes in the way AI is being used or consumed. I think the whole computing speeds on the GPU cards is increasing, right? The way it is consuming electricity is also going to come down to 10-15%. And with the quantum computing, and if I don't know if you've seen a quantum computing, I was lucky.
I wasn't. Yes, please.
I was lucky. I was in MIT. I was I was at Harvard doing my senior leadership program, and we got a chance to go to MIT Innovation Lab. And all of us thought quantum computing would be this one 5-storied building with all kinds of big room.
Okay.
It's actually size of this bottle.
Ooh.
Okay, it's actually size of this bottle. Of course, it's back-end supported by a lot of power and a lot of computing, but it's size of this bottle.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is the future is going to be very interesting. Whether AI will be a friend or foe, too early to say. What will AI play as a role as we move forward? Definitely in a lot of places where we see, which is repetitive in nature, at places which we see, which has a lot of human intensive work, which is repetitive, where technology can take over, we will definitely see AI come in and sweep a lot of things there. I think medtech is going to play a big role, right? Cybersecurity is going to play a big role. At a lot of online initiatives, the online applications that we use, is going to play a big role. So let's wait and watch, and it's going to be very interesting.
So when we talk about online initiatives or online tech, we were talking about earlier, and you did mention that the personal factor is one part of it, information security is one, and cyber is a different part. So what is the risk and the challenges involved? Because there are three different domains, and human failure is something which is there in every single part.
It's an interesting question.
Yes.
Let's before we get to that, let's look at the evolution of cybersecurity over the last 20 years, right? There was a time when in 2000 to 2005, cybersecurity was only about some viruses. I don't know if you all remember, there was Surcam, Code Red, Nimda. There were a lot of these viruses which came in during the era of 2000 to 2006, 2007, where the virus was only about putting a network down to show one-man-ship. So it was about attackers to say that, you know what, we're extremely powerful and we understand how you work. Then the era shifted from 2007 to 2013-14, where the somewhat mafias got involved, or it became that the hackers realized that there is scope to make money in this. It's not just about one-manship, but we can hack bank accounts, we can hack customer data, or we can actually hack enterprise accounts and make some money out of it. Again, that's the time when digitalization also globally was on a go, where digital bankings were coming in, and a lot of digital movements were happening. So that was that era where attackers got a little more intelligent, they understood how it works and how they can make money and all of that. But from 2014-15 to date, where we are sitting, it's an organized crime. It's the mafia. It's the bigger mafia than probably cocaine mafia, or it's a bigger mafia than arms ammunition mafia, because you can be anywhere in the world, you can attack anyone in the world, and you can just take ransom money. And with crypto, with bitcoins, with all modes of payments available, it's just become a completely organized crime. And if you read newspapers, you read this thing, you will realize that cyber is no longer just about one or two attacks. It's a completely perpetrated crime. And on top of it, now it's become between countries. So it's become a lot of warfare between countries. What we are seeing in today's war, a lot of places is more cyber that is also fought, right? So next 3-5 years, we are going to see a lot of different kind of attacks, different kind of things. And with AI coming in, which is the scary part, is that now, see, there were times when humans could put in about 100 attacks or 200 attacks at one point in time to look at loopholes. AI can initiate 1 million, 10 million attacks, right?
Yes.
So it can just initiate as many attacks as it wants. It's made it easy to hack. Of course, at the same time, on the other side, now technology companies are building AI-related defense. So it's all about, attack from a bot, from a savior from a bot. So humans definitely will play a role, but a lot of it is actually going to become automated. So it's going to be an interesting time. To your first question, yes, cybersecurity now is into 3 buckets. One is which is your cybersecurity, your firewalls, your antiviruses, your ADRs, your entire security there. Then there is information security. So it's a lot about how you are storing your information, how you're protecting customer confidentiality, how you're securing your data, how it's not leaked to the world, right? So a lot about information security, which has a lot of people process technology, a lot of compliances. So the Data Privacy Act is a part of information security compliance, right? And third factor, which is a very important factor, is the human social engineering, the social engineering hacks that happen. And I think all of us have been victim to OTP hacks, right? Or we've been hearing about OTP hacks. So as we move forward, the weakest things are actually humans. And I can show you so many cases where it's, people over the phone have got passwords, have got data sets from organizations, have done a lot of things which are very related to social engineering. So it's a mix of all three. And of course, technology will be the backbone of it. But while we make technology the backbone, human intelligence and training the humans and making them understand that what is good or bad is also going to be equally important.
Okay. So in a sense, cybersecurity as such, it's got a lot of loopholes. Anonymity is one part of it, due to which it will be prevalent. Second part, as you mentioned, is the human error, or the weakest link is human, right? So you have people wanting to be digital voters into themselves. That would be one part of it. In this kind of scenario, how do we deal with the customer experience? Because digital transformation and customer experience go hand in hand, right?
See, we've seen an onslaught of digital transformation, post-COVID, right? If you really actually look at it, before COVID, if you asked 70% of the world, could you work from home, they would say no. Minus the advanced economies like US and Europe, but none of us would say that we could work from home, right? It was always that everything had to be in a fortified environment. You come into office, you have the best of security, best of CCTVs, and best of cybersecurities, and then people would come. Then that was called a safe zone or a comfort zone, right? You would come into that office and work from there. From all of us to do transactions, we were very happy calling up a Banya or calling up somebody to deliver things to you over a phone, and then you would give a cash or a payment through that, right? Or you would have a statement for a month and you would deliver. What happened is, in 2020, when COVID came in, it broke all these ethoses. First, it said you can work from anywhere. Second, when we said that no, you need to have a fortified environment to work from, now you are working from the weakest link. You're logging in from a Wi-Fi which is unsecured. You don't even know where you're logging in, where your data is going on. Third is suddenly, especially I would talk from an Indian economy and then of course from the global economy, people like us who believed only in cash systems suddenly were all digital, and everyone was making digital transactions. It could be, my dad who's 72 learned how to pay digitally to I'm sure 16-year-olds ordering or 15-year-olds ordering online. So what it changed our habit. It changed our habit so fast that I think the tech spectrum was just about getting ready. And what we've seen post-COVID is that more and more technologies have gone online. More and more buying patterns are now going online. Like an Instagram store today, I think it probably does more sale than any of the other stores, right? And it's just the youth which is caught onto that Instagram stores. Where I'm coming from is the user experience definitely will keep evolving and changing. We will have to put elements of cybersecurity or verified IDs or that Anuj is Anuj online. We have to create a lot of verified IDs and secure payments. So a lot of it will happen in the next 2-3 years. And again, now with AI coming in, codes are written much faster. Technology changes, which we're taking, like we've done one project, which we were struggling for 6 months, and with the GT5, we actually finished the project in 2 months.
Okay.
And we've actually taken a lot of code which was available already. So interesting times, a lot of things are going to change, I think, in the next 5 years. And again, tech savvy kids, right?
Yes.
The
3-year-old is more tech savvier than a 70-year-old.
So the 10 to 15 who spend that time in COVID are so tech savvy that as they move forward, their ethos of life is going to be very different than ours, right? Okay. So it's going to be interesting times. Like I always give this example, especially from an India context. If you really look at 1960s to 2000, right? Or even actually from India context, it was all about disciplined life, right? We were just out of the Second World War globally. Disciplined life. People would get up at 6, work 6 days a week, then educate their kids, and all about a lot of discipline, right? And it was always that if you don't study, you're not disciplined, you'll get nowhere in life, right? And it was all about disciplined lifestyle. Then you look at 2000 to 2010, 15, where it all became passion. Right, you got Steve Jobs coming in, Bill Gates coming in.
YOLO concept,
right? Or Elon Musk. It's all about passion.
Yes.
They all said that, we are very passionate. And if you actually look at entrepreneurs of those times, they were all passion-driven entrepreneurs. And of course, they built a lot of good things in that time. And then we came to an era now, which we are coming now, when these kids are coming in, it's all a lot about purpose built. Right? What is the purpose they want? If they will ask you, why are we doing this? Why are you taking me there? Or even like a lot of the Gen Zs who come and work with us, they always ask us, what's the purpose? Why are we building this? What are we going to solve? So it's an interesting era.
Okay.
And these kids are definitely a lot more purpose driven than we were. We were probably passion and discipline driven. They're a lot more purpose driven. So when you have purpose in a lot of things that you do, sometimes a lot of good things come out of it, right? And they will solve some really good problems which we were not able to solve. So I'm really looking forward in the next 3 to 5 years how they're going to work on it.
And there's been a quick change too. As you said, COVID has become an era and has become a red line now. It will be pre-COVID and post-COVID era, right? Like, BC, AC and all that. It's become like a defining era now. We were talking about people working from home, different definitions of how work can be carried on. So what do you think is the future of work now with AI technology coming, the different perspective of the digitally transformed millennials coming into place? How does it work?
I'm old school, so I prefer coming to office. I feel that when you come in office and you work, you achieve a lot. But I think that myth of mine also got broken during COVID, that it's not necessary that everything needs you to be physically present. You can achieve a lot virtually as well. So I think the future is definitely hybrid. You can't have either or. You can't say that only work from home is the future or only working from office is the future. Because see, a lot of times we talk about building value systems in an organization. We talk about organizational cultures, right? You talk about building a lot of purpose and a lot of direction in the organization. And if it's going to be always virtual, how are you going to create an organization culture? How are you going to get an innovation culture or a change culture? So I think it's going to be hybrid. And in the next 3 to 5 years, again, with the tech stack really changing and the millennials coming in or the Gen Zs coming in,
Yes.
see, a lot will become about what is your relevance rather than your experience. To give you an example, I might have someone who's 20 years experience, but if he has not learned this whole AI in the last 3 years, and there's a kid who comes in from college and who's done that 3 years of AI, probably I might have to pay him more because he's more relevant for me in my work today than what this guy with 20 years of experience, because all his experience is holding no good in today's era. Right, so relevance is going to be very, very important, and for all of us as leaders and of course upcoming leaders, I would say that if we don't change and accept that we might be written off, we might be redundant, we will definitely become. So it's very important that we keep an eye on what the technology is going to look like, how the things are going to change in future, and how we get ready and prep ourselves to it. If we are going to sit on our past laurels and say that, you know what, we have 25 years of experience, we did this, we built this company from here to there, we changed the way whole organization was working, might not be relevant in the next 3 to 5 years. So relevance is going to be the key.
Thank you, Anuj, for this great conversation. So we can end this conversation by saying the relevance is the new mantra, right?
Definitely.
Being relevant,
Yes.
right? Thank you very much.
All right.